Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, building experiences that connect, remove friction, and deliver insights. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and with me today is Elena Sinel. Elena is a multi-award-winning social entrepreneur and one of the leading global voices on the ethics of artificial intelligence. She founded Teens in AI, motivated to make a difference in the world by empowering young people aged 12 to 18 to solve real problems through ethically designed technology. Elena is committed to inspiring young people to make a change in their community, country, and economy through passion, agility, teamwork, and expert support. She believes we must teach invaluable skills to our next generation in order to help them thrive in an ever-changing 21st century workplace. Welcome to the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast, Elena.
Thank you so much, Ed, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, first off, Elena, why do you do what you do?
I guess someone needs to inspire change makers. The world needs revolutionaries. The world needs young people who care about this world and want to make a better place. And so my mission is to inspire as many young people as I possibly can around the world to learn and understand how the world works and how to solve the world's biggest problems through technology.
And before we started recording, you had mentioned this concept that I found intriguing called inclusive design. Tell me a little bit about that.
I'm no expert of inclusive design, but in my view, this is something that needs to happen more and more in the industry, where we need to include the people that we design for. And this very much is aligned with ethically designing innovation and technologies, something that where we can take into account diverse voices, including various abilities and disabilities, and particularly when it comes to designing that next best feature or next innovation, it's important to include those who we're designing it for. So in our case at Teens in AI, we want to include the young people who will be the change makers and who will be joining the industry. So hopefully the industry will then be able to recruit from that pool of talent that's going to be diverse, and that in itself will make a massive difference to the new innovative products that will be coming out.
Yes, I guess it's a bit since time immemorial. I think even go back, if you look at Socrates and Plato, they all say this next generation. I don't know about them. They're a little bit so it has some real precedent in history. So I was just wondering, do you think that teens inherently not understand the technology, but understand the applicability of inclusivity more than folks say who have been in the industry for a while?
Teens solve problems differently. I really like the way they approach a problem that we know about in a slightly different way. They ask different kind of questions. I like the fact that they're not constrained by the boundaries, the constructed boundaries, the ones that have been created on their behalf. They don't have to think and worry about mortgages, who's going to pay for that water bill, electricity. So they dream without those kind of boundaries and constructs. And the way they approach a problem is quite different. So when we introduce them to that cutting edge technology, oftentimes we find the way they want to apply that technology is not something we as adults have thought about. So it's a very, very interesting way when we observe the way they innovate. And I think even some of the industry mentors we work with have found it just very different the way teenagers and this generation approaches problems from a slightly different perspective. They do care about the world, they care about environment, but at the same time they're quite chilled in their approach, and they also really evaluate things differently. For my daughter, for instance, she's only 19. She's not the type who will work 9 to 5 or 9 to 7, 9 to 8, like me sometimes. Still, she somehow manages to find that life-work balance that I've not been able to find as yet. And I noticed this is the trend with this generation as well. They kind of love the fact that they can contribute to the world, but they also love to travel. They also want to see the world. They're very mobile, agile, and of course, they're very on trend with innovation, but the way they tackle problems is very interesting and very different to the way we do it.
Can you give me an example from a technology perspective? And the example of your daughter was great, by the way, but just from a technology perspective, at something that you've observed in perhaps one of the folks that have been to your programs where they solved a problem far more differently than you anticipated or others anticipated.
Well, we had a very interesting project just came out a couple of years ago with teenage girls from France who have seen a lot of people who suffer with hearing issues have really struggled during COVID to read lips because of the masks and the difficulties that they have encountered. And so these three girls have managed to tap into the community of people who are experiencing those issues. They have interviewed people, so they have really applied all of the innovative frameworks like design thinking. They went out and they spoke to people. They realized what was the issue at that time. And they are developing right now a very interesting device which has a combination of software and hardware. So it's a necklace that sits on your neck and it vibrates the sounds. And at the same time, the messages also pop up on your phone to tell you what that noise was about, or what they may have missed out on because they would struggle to read the lips. And so that noise was able to demystify those messages. So it could, of course, be said that this could only apply in times of pandemic when we are forced to wear masks or whatnot. But I think the way this is going right now is they are finding other ways where it can still apply and alleviate some of the difficulties that people who have difficulties hearing can still utilize that technology. So that was a very interesting example of how, and a very innovative approach during times when we didn't really think about people who have difficulties hearing, hard of hearing. How will they cope during the times of pandemic when everyone's mouth is closed and they just don't know what's going on around them? So that is just one example. And I know the team is still working on this product and in partnership with Microsoft right now. And I just can't wait to see what will happen in the end and when they launch this. It's an exciting innovation that I observed. And there is a lot more. Sometimes it happens when back in 2018, a team developed something that some 3-4 years later, Google picked up on. So then I find the way they approach things is very different. They are super innovative. So a lot of us adults underestimate just how incredible they are. And as long as they're surrounded by the support they need and the skills that they need to learn, I think the world is just an oyster for the kids who have those opportunities.
And Elena, we have an exit question that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is a hero of yours and why are they a hero?
It's a difficult one because my heroes change. Today, it's the Finnish Prime Minister, whose story I admire. And I was reading something in the news and I thought, wow, this is amazing. This, woman is just phenomenal. The way she's also standing up against all of the strange rumors and the publicity that's around her private life. I thought that is, a heroic female that I just really admire. But of course, at other times, there are teenagers who are my heroes. My own daughter who lost her father to lung cancer and somehow was so resilient and managed to get through and now joined IBM, really loves coding, something I did not even expect her to do because she told me she was never, ever going to do it. And other teenagers like Selena, who dropped out of school and now is an apprentice at Microsoft, dropped out of school because her best friend committed suicide and she couldn't carry on studying. So I have lots of heroes who are surrounding me all the time and people I learn from and get inspired from. So they are the people who make a dent, make a difference. They hammer home something that really needs to be out there. They are the role models and they are change makers. They're going to do some great things and we'll hear from them.
And lastly, Elena, how can somebody contact you?
Best way is LinkedIn, of course. So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, less so on Instagram, but our company Teens and AI is on all social media channels. So definitely get in touch with us if you want to join us as a mentor in one of our upcoming campaigns. Or we're launching our online courses. So if you're a parent and you would like your teenager to be involved, definitely check out our platform, teensnaya.com. We are launching some new courses. The website itself is being updated, so lots of new things will be happening. So there is a lot to get your hands onto.
All right, Elena Sinel, founder of Teens and AI, thanks so much for being a guest on the Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Ed.
Review and subscribe by searching your podcast player of choice for Sage Thought Leadership Podcast.